There's a small moment that only this man notices. He's just gotten bad news. Not a catastrophe, just something heavy enough to make a man's shoulders drop an inch. A test result that has to be run again. Money that's suddenly gone. A call telling him someone he knew has passed. He picks up his phone, opens his contacts, his thumb stops. Then he sets the phone back down. Not because there's no one in there. The list is full of names. The problem is that he just scrolled past every one of them, and with each name, a voice in his head said the same thing. This isn't the person to call about this. That one's busy. That one used to lean on him. Can't reverse that now. That one would worry too much. That one he hasn't talked to in months. Calling now would be strange. So he handles the bad news alone, like every other time, and he gets through it. That's the problem. He always gets through it. But what he's carrying isn't what he thinks it is. He thinks he's lonely because he doesn't have anyone close enough. The truth is something else entirely. Most people believe a strong man doesn't need anyone, and if he feels lonely, it's because he hasn't opened up enough. He won't let people in. For the man in this video, the opposite is true. He isn't lonely because he shut the world out. He's lonely because he's too reliable. He spent 20, 30 years becoming the man who never falls apart, and he succeeded so completely that everyone around him stopped imagining he could ever need holding up. What he thinks is a flaw to fix, I'm too closed off, is actually a signal. It's showing him something about how he's lived. He built a version of himself with no room for weakness, and now even he can't get in. This is what's really happening, and this is what it's quietly been trying to show him. People read each other through signals, not through the truth. Nobody sees inside him. They only see what he gives off. And for decades, he's given off exactly one signal. I'm fine. I've got it. Don't worry about me. He sent that signal because it worked. When he was steady, people leaned on him. When people leaned on him, he felt worth something. It's a reward loop. The more he could carry, the more he was needed, the more he mattered. No one taught him to stop the loop. There was no point along the way that told him it had gone too far. Then there was a side effect he never saw coming. People ration their concern. We save our worry for the places that look like they need it. The child who cries gets comforted first. The friend who breaks down gets the phone call first. And the man who's always standing gets filed under doesn't need checking on. Not because they don't love him, but because he taught them, through 1,000 small acts, that he's the last person in the room who needs to be asked how he's doing. He got so good at it that he made himself invisible. And most of this started early. He was raised on a quiet message, sometimes spoken, sometimes just the look on his father's face when he cried. A man is something others lean on, not someone who goes looking for something to lean on. His needs were his to handle cleanly, so they wouldn't become a burden to anyone. He learned that lesson well. He learned it so well it stopped feeling like a lesson. It started feeling like who he is. He isn't broken, he's just doing exactly what a man in his position was taught to do. Layer 1, the reliable man's tax. There's a price nobody told him about when he chose to be the steady one. Call it the reliable man's tax. Every time he handles something without letting anyone see how heavy it was, he pays a little of it. And people log him, one more time, as the man with no problems. Picture a bridge. Every day it carries traffic across. No shaking, no groaning. And because it never groans, nobody comes to inspect it. People only check a bridge once it starts to shake. The strongest bridge is the one that gets forgotten the longest, until the day it goes down, and everyone is shocked, because it never had any problems. A man sits in his car in the driveway after work, not going inside yet. He tells himself, just 5 more quiet minutes, then I go in, and I'm fine again. He doesn't know how many evenings he's spent out there. No one in the house knows the car is where he recharges enough to be the steady man for one more night. But that's just the surface. Below it, there's a heavier layer. Layer 2. The loneliness of the man who's always the giver. In every one of his relationships, there's a one-way current he never notices is one way. He's the one who checks in. He's the one who remembers the birthday. He's the one who lends when it's needed, drives over when the car breaks down, listens when someone falls apart. Picture a well the whole village comes to draw from. The well doesn't complain. It's full, they draw, it fills again. But nobody stands beside the well and wonders, where does this water come from? And does the spring underneath ever run dry? A man has just listened to his friend talk for an hour about their life. At the end of the call, the friend says, "Thanks, man. I always feel better after talking to you," and hangs up. He sits there with the dark screen of his phone, and a thought crosses his mind. Fast. So fast he almost doesn't catch it. Nobody's asked me that. Not in a long time. Then he pushes the thought away, decides it's selfish, and goes to do the dishes. He doesn't realize that his endless ability to give has taught everyone around him to forget that he runs out too. But what really traps him isn't that no one asks. It's what happens below this. Layer 3. He's lost the ability to receive. This is where a lot of people don't go. The problem isn't only that no one offers to help him, it's that even when someone does offer, he can't take it anymore. When someone says, "Let me help," something strange happens inside him. He gets uncomfortable. He feels like he owes something. He feels like he's being seen in a state he never gives himself permission to be in. So he says, "No, I've got it." And he says it fast, almost a reflex, before he's even weighed whether he actually does have it. Picture a man who's gone hungry too long. At some point, the stomach shrinks, and when food is finally put in front of him, the body can't take it in anymore. The hunger is still there, but the ability to eat is gone. That's him with care. He still needs it. That hunger never switched off, but the mechanism for receiving it closed from disuse. A man's wife asks him, "Is something wrong? You've seemed off lately." Something is wrong, a lot is wrong, and he hears himself answer, "No, I'm just tired," while a part of him stands there watching, desperate, wanting to shout yes, keep asking, don't believe that answer, but that part doesn't control his mouth anymore. The door has been shut so long he can't find the handle. And this leads to the last layer, the one that makes everything click. Layer 4. The absence of a question. There's a question no one has asked him in a very long time. Not "how are you" as a courtesy. The real one, "Are you okay? Really okay?" Asked by someone who stops long enough to hear the second answer. The one that comes after the reflex answer he gives first. Picture a room where the light never goes out, so no one thinks to check the bulb. It just stays on. People walk under it for years without once looking up. That bulb could be running hot, could be dimming, but because it hasn't gone dark yet, nobody notices. This is his real loneliness. It isn't that he's alone. He has a family, co-workers, people he knows. It's that he lives among these people and not one of them in a very long time has turned toward him the question he keeps turning toward them. He's the only person in his own life no one checks on. A man listens to his kid describe a rough day at school, and he stops, sits down, asks the follow-up questions, really listens. He does it naturally, well, with love. And for 1 second, in the middle of doing it for his child, a thought cuts through him sharp as a blade. How long has it been since anyone sat down with me like this? He can't remember. That's the answer. This is where the tragedy comes into full view. His self-reliance started as a tool. It was useful. It got him through stretches where no one was coming to save him, and he's earned the right to be proud of it. But at some point he didn't notice. The tool became armor, and armor doesn't come off. "I don't need anyone. I can handle it myself. I don't want to be a bother." He says these 3 lines like they're strength, and there were times they genuinely were, but now they do something else. Each one is a cord he cuts himself, the cord tying him to a person who might have caught him. He doesn't push people away with anger, he pushes them away with perfection, by never showing a single crack for anyone to step through. Armor protects him from getting hurt, but it also blocks everything else. Closeness, being seen, the relief of having someone know. It can't tell the difference between a bullet and an outstretched hand. It stops them both the same way. And here's the hinge of everything. Understanding the mechanism isn't enough. His problem isn't learning to endure the loneliness better. He's already a master of enduring, and that's exactly the trap. The problem is changing his relationship with needing people at all. To stop treating it as a weakness to hide. To start treating it as the thing that makes him human. The way out isn't to be less lonely. It's to stop turning it into armor. Principle 1. A need isn't a burden. It's a door. He believes that letting someone see his needs puts a weight on them. But he has it backwards. When he lets someone know he needs them, he's not loading them down. He's handing them something they might not have known they were missing. The feeling of being needed by a man who's steady. People don't feel close to a wall. They feel close to a man with an opening they can step through. The new thing he tells himself, letting someone know I need them, is a gift, not a bill. The image, a door that's been locked for years. He doesn't have to break it down. He just has to leave it cracked, enough for a sliver of light to spill out, so the person outside knows someone's in there. Principle 2, give the second answer. When someone asks if he's okay, his first answer is always the reflex, fine, just tired. He doesn't have to throw that answer out. He just has to, one time, with one person, go one sentence further. Say the true thing sitting behind the reflex. He doesn't have to pour it all out. Just one sentence truer than the first. The new thing he tells himself, I'm allowed to say the second sentence. The image, a hand that's been clenched for years. He doesn't have to open the whole fist at once. Just release one finger. One finger is enough to let someone know this hand can open. Principle 3. Let one person see you imperfect. He doesn't have to take his armor off for the whole world. That's dangerous, and he's right to be careful about it. He just has to pick one person, one, and let them see him in a state he's never let anyone see. Not so they can fix anything for him, just so he stops being the only person alive who knows what he's really like. The new thing he tells himself, I don't need the whole world to hold me up. I just need to stop being the only one holding me. The image, a man who's carried a load down a long road, setting it down for one beat, not dropping it, just setting it down to breathe, in front of the one person he trusts enough not to judge how heavy it was. Go back to the man in the car in the driveway, 5 minutes before he goes inside. This time, imagine one small thing different. He's still sitting there, still tired. But this time, before he puts the phone away, he doesn't scroll past every name and dismiss it. He stops on one name. He types a short line. No story, no explanation, just 3 words. Rough stretch lately. Then he sends it, before the armored part of him can stop it. He doesn't know what the other person will say back. That isn't the point. The point is that for the first time in a long while, one other person on this earth knows. He's no longer the only one holding himself. The depth he's carried all these years, the quiet, the endurance, the steadiness everyone leans on, isn't a burden. It's a kind of understanding not many people have. He knows what it feels like to carry the whole world. And that makes him, more than most, capable of being the gentlest man in the room with someone else who's carrying, even when that someone is himself. If you saw yourself in this video, leave a line about the part that hit you the most. You're not walking this road alone. The strongest man isn't the one who needs no one. He's the one strong enough to let one person know that he does.